Namaste, Dandavat Pranam. By the instruction and grace of our spiritual master, Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Śrīpad Bhakti Madhavapuri Mahārāja, we are here reading Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Dandavat Pranam Shrimati Umadevi.
Hare Kṛṣṇa Dandavat Pranam Prabhuji.
We're also paying our humble Dandavat Pranam to Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada for providing us this wonderful commentary and translation of Bhagavatam. And following the guidance of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, we are praying to Srimati Radharani. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said that unless we can learn something about Radharani within the 18,000 verses of Bhagavatam, then our study has been for waste. Yadi seva vanchitasya ma, yasya kripaya vayam labema, sarvam prapnuma prayojanam, damni Shri Bhagavat pade, Krishna sambandhi sarvam cha, yadi na jani mahe tutam, Astadashasu sahasreshu shlokanam bhagavat oktishu radharanimna vindamatada nishphalam bhagavatadhyayanam radhikaya kripam vina vyartasyat sarva parishrama. If we are cheated out of serving that personality whose mercy awards us everything we need, including residence in the Lord's holy Dham, and all things connected to Krishna, and if we cannot understand or discover Radharani within the 18,000 verses of Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, then our study of Śrīmad Bhāgavatam has been pointless. Without the mercy of Srimati Radharani, all of our efforts are in vain. So we are continuing our reading today from Canto 5, Chapter 10, Text 17. Naham vishanke sura rajavadran na trayaksha sulanda yamasya dandat na gnarka somanila vitapastrach chanke brisham brahma kulavamanat. My dear sir, I am not at all afraid of the thunderbolt of King Indra, nor am I afraid of the serpentine piercing trident of Lord Śiva. I do not care about the punishment of Yamarāja, the superintendent of death, nor am I afraid of fire, scorching sun, moon, wind, nor the weapons of Kuvera. Yet I am afraid of offending a brāhmaṇa. I am very much afraid of this. Purport. When Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu was visiting Rupa Goswami at the Dasasvamedha Ghat in Prayag, he pointed out very clearly the seriousness of offending a Vaiṣṇava. He compared the Vaiṣṇava-aparādha to hātī-mātā, a mad elephant. When a mad elephant enters a garden, it spoils all the fruits and flowers. Similarly, if one offends a Vaiṣṇava, he spoils all his spiritual assets. Offending a brāhmaṇa is very dangerous, and this was shown to Mahārāja Rahūgaṇa. He therefore frankly admitted his faults. There are many dangerous things: thunderbolts, fire, Yamarāja's punishment, the punishment of Lord Shiva's trident, and so forth. But none is considered as serious as offending a brāhmaṇa like Jaḍa Bharata. Therefore Mahārāja Rahūgaṇa immediately descended from his palanquin and fell flat before the lotus feet of the brāhmaṇa, Jaḍa Bharata, just to be excused. Text 18. Tadbruya Shango Jadavani Gudha Vigyan Viryo Vicharasya Paraha Vachamsi Yoga Gratita Nisadho Nanha Kshamante Manasapi Betum. My dear sir, it appears that the influence of your great spiritual knowledge is hidden. Factually, you are bereft of all material association and fully absorbed in the thought of the Supreme. Consequently, you are unlimitedly advanced in spiritual knowledge. Please tell me why you are wandering around like a dullard. O great saintly person, you have spoken words approved by the yogic process, but it is not possible for us to understand what you have said. Therefore, kindly explain it. Purport. Saintly people like Jaḍa Bharata do not speak ordinary words. Whatever they say is approved by the great yogis and those advanced in spiritual life. That is the difference between ordinary people and saintly people. The listener must also be advanced to understand the words of such exalted, spiritually advanced people as Jaḍa Bharata. Bhagavad Gita was spoken to Arjuna, not to others. Lord Krishna especially selected Arjuna for instruction in spiritual knowledge, because Arjuna happened to be a great devotee and confidential friend. Similarly, great personalities also speak to the advanced, not to Sudras, Vaishyas, women, or unintelligent men. Sometimes it is very risky to give great philosophical instructions to ordinary people, but Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu, for the benefit of the fallen souls of Kali Yuga, has given us a very nice instrument, the chanting of the Hare Kṛṣṇa Mantra. The general mass of people, although Sudras and less, can be purified by chanting this Hare Kṛṣṇa Mantra. They can understand the exalted philosophical statements of Bhagavad Gita and Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. Our Krishna consciousness movement has therefore adopted the chanting of the Hare Kṛṣṇa Mahā-Mantra for the general masses. When people gradually become purified, they are instructed in the lessons of Bhagavad Gita and Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. Materialistic people like Strī, Sudra, and Dvija Bandhu cannot understand words of spiritual advancement, yet one can take to the shelter of a Vaiṣṇava, for he knows the art of enlightening even Sudras in the highly elevated subject matter spoken in Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam. Text 19. Aham cha yogeshvaram atma tattva vidham muninam paramam gurum vai prastum pravritta kim iharanam tat sakshadarim jnana kalavatirnam. I consider your good self the most exalted master of mystic power. You know the spiritual science perfectly well. You are the most exalted of all learned sages, and you have descended for the benefit of all human society. You have come to give spiritual knowledge, and you are a direct representative of Kapila-dev, the incarnation of God, and the plenary portion of knowledge. I am therefore asking you, O spiritual master, what is the most secure shelter in this world? Purport. As Krishna confirms in Bhagavad Gita, Yoginam api sarvesham madgatenan tatmana shradhavan bhajate yomam same yuktat tamomata. Of all yogis, he who abides in me with great faith, worshipping me in transcendental loving service, is most intimately united with me in yoga and is the highest of all. Bhagavad Gita 6.47. Jaḍa Bharata was a perfect yogi. He was formerly the Emperor Bharata Mahārāja, and he was now the most exalted personality among learned sages, and the master of all mystic powers. Although Jaḍa Bharata was an ordinary living entity, he had inherited all the knowledge given by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Kapila Deva. He could therefore be taken directly as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As confirmed by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur in his stanzas to the spiritual master, Sakshat Darit Vene Shamasta Shastrir, an exalted personality like Jaḍa Bharata is as good as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, because he fully represents the Lord by giving knowledge to others. Jaḍa Bharata is herein accepted as the direct representative of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, because he was imparting knowledge on behalf of the Supreme Lord. Therefore, Mahārāja Rahūgaṇa concluded that it was appropriate to ask him about Atma Tattva, the spiritual science. Tad Vigyartam sa gurum eva bigachet, Mundaka Upanishad. Tad Vigyartham sa gurum eva bigachet samit panistrotriam brahmanishtam. To understand these things properly, one must humbly approach with firewood in hand a spiritual master who is learned in the Vedas and firmly devoted to the absolute truth. Mundaka Upanishad 1.2.12. This Vedic injunction is also confirmed herein. If anyone is at all interested in knowing spiritual science, Brahma Jigyasa, he must approach a guru like Jaḍa Bharata. Text 20. Savai bhavaloka nirikṣanartam avyakta lingo vicharatya pisvit yogeshvaranam gatim andabudhi katam vichakshita grihanubandha. It is not a fact that your good self is the direct representative. Is it not a fact that your good self is the direct representative of Kapila Deva, the incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead? To examine people and see who is actually a human being and who is not, you have presented yourself to be a deaf and dumb person. Are you not moving this way upon the surface of the world? I am very attached to family life and worldly activities, and I am blind to spiritual knowledge. Nonetheless, I am now present before you, and am seeking enlightenment from you. How can I advance in spiritual life? Purport. Although Mahārāja Rahūgaṇa was playing the part of a king, he had been informed by Jaḍa Bharata that he was not a king, nor was Jaḍa Bharata deaf and dumb. Such designations were simply coverings of the spirit soul. Everyone must come to this knowledge, as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 2.13, Dehino smin yata dehe. Everyone is encased within the body. Since the body is never identical with the soul, The bodily activities are simply illusory. In the association of such a sadhu as Jaḍa Bharata, Mahārāja Rahūgaṇa came to the awareness that his activities as a royal authority were simply illusory phenomena. Dandavat pranam tosi Maharani Devi Dasi. He therefore agreed to receive knowledge from Jaḍa Bharata, and that was the beginning of his perfection. Tad vigyartam sagurum eva bigachet. Mundaka Upanishad 1.2.12. Tad vigyartam sagurum eva bigachet samit pani shrotriam brahmanishtam. To understand these things properly, one must humbly approach with firewood in hand a spiritual master who is learned in the Vedas and firmly devoted to the absolute truth. Is this the same purport as the previous? Okay. A person like Mahārāja Rahūgaṇa, who was very inquisitive to know the value of life in the spiritual science, must approach a personality like Jaḍa Bharata. Tasmad gurum prapadyate jigyasu shreya uttamam. Bhagavatam 11.3.21. One must approach a guru like Jaḍa Bharata, a representative of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, to inquire about the goal of human life. Text 21. Drishta shrama karmata atmano vai bhartur gantur bhavatas chanumanye yata sato dannayana bhavat samula ishto vyavahara marga. You have said, I am not fatigued from labor. Although the soul is different from the body, there is fatigue because of bodily labor, and it appears to be the fatigue of the soul. When you are carrying the palanquin, there is certainly labor for the soul. This is my conjecture. You have also said that the external behavior exhibited between the master and the servant is not factual. But although in the phenomenal world it is not factual, the products of the phenomenal world can actually affect things. That is visible and experienced. As such, even though material activities are impermanent, they cannot be said to be untrue. Purport. This is a discussion on impersonal Mayavad philosophy and the practical philosophy of Vaiṣṇavas. The Mayavad philosophy explains this phenomenal world to be false, but Vaiṣṇava philosophers do not agree. They know that the phenomenal world is a temporary manifestation, but it is not false. A dream that we see at night is certainly false, but a horrible dream certainly affects the person seeing it. The soul's fatigue is not factual, but as long as one is immersed in the illusory bodily conception, one is affected by such false dreams. When dreaming, it is not possible to avoid the actual facts, and the conditioned soul is forced to suffer due to his dream. A water pot is made of earth and is temporary. Actually, there is no water pot, there is simply earth. However, as long as the water pot can contain water, we can use it in that way. It cannot be said to be absolutely false. Okay, thus ends our reading for today. We'll continue from text 22 on Friday. Before we finish, were there any comments or questions or anything to share from the assembled devotees?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, I'm going to Vrindavan next
Hare Krishna,
this
Shivam
Friday.
Ji. Uma Devi, what was that?
Yes. I'm going to Vrindavan this Friday.
You're going to Vrindavan this Friday. Jai.
10 days.
Where are you going in Vrindavan?
I can visit our temple everywhere. I don't
Go
know.
everywhere. Are you going by yourself or with some of your family members?
With my granddaughter.
With your granddaughter. Jai. So nice, Didi. Jai. So nice. Please pay my humble Dandavat Pranam at Sri Govardhan and to all the Vrajabasis and the devotees. Hare Krishna. Shivam, you were saying something?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, in the purport of the 17th verse, I think, it was said that for general masses, it's recommended to chant the Maha-Mantra. And only then they can understand Śrīmad Bhāgavatam and Bhagavad Gita.
Mm.
Can you a bit explain that? Like, if without this chanting, I think it's not possible to understand the scriptures well.
Yes, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Haranam, 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 Eva Kevalam, Kalo, Nasteva, 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 Gatir Anyata. So you must chant the holy name, you must chant the holy name, you must chant the holy name. Haranam, 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 Eva Kevalam. And then Kalo means in this age of Kali, there is no other way, no other way, no other way. So everyone has to chant. Even if they are able to understand, even if they're not considered to be just one of the masses of people on earth in Kali Yuga, and they have some grace to understand something about Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita, they still have to chant as well. So Prabhupada wasn't saying some people are excused from chanting, but he's saying that for those who can't understand anything about Bhagavad Gita or Bhagavatam, that it's not like they're forsaken or something like that. By chanting Hare Krishna very sincerely and associating with Vaiṣṇavas, that this practice alone can help to purify their consciousness so that eventually they too can read the scriptures and actually have some capacity to understand what's being said. So at any point in the process, whether at the very, very beginning or somewhere in the middle, we still should chant. Does that help?
Ji Prabhuji. So those persons who have some understanding before chanting in this world, it's because of their past sukriti, right?
Maybe, yeah.
Because if they don't chant and they study these books, I think they might get to the philosophical queries, but they will not get to the actual realizations.
Yeah, exactly. It's very difficult to say if they actually understand or not. You know, they may like to think they understand, but just because they think they understand doesn't mean they actually understand.
Ji Prabhuji. They might understand the grammatical things,
In
but
fact,
not.
in fact, if their response to the scriptures is not to find devotees and serve with the devotees, if that's not their reaction from reading Bhagavad Gita or Bhagavatam, then we can say very matter-of-factly they haven't understood anything.
Ji Prabhuji. That helps a lot. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Jai Vishnupad Paramahamsa Sripad Bhakti Madhavapuri Mahārāja Ki Jai.
Jai.
Jai Srila Prabhupada, Srila Guru Maharaj, Srila Gurudev, Srila Acharya Dev, Srila Tirtha Maharaj Ki Jai.
Jai.
Sri Rupanuga Guru Varga Ki Jai.
Jai.
Glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the worldwide devotees, Sama Bhakti Veda Vrinda Ki Jai.
Jai.
Jai Navadvip Dham ki jai, Mayapur Dham ki jai, Jagannath Puri Dham ki jai, Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Ju ki jai, Ganga Mai Yamuna Mai ki jai, Vrindavan Dham ki jai, Giri Govardhan
Jai.
Tirtha Govardhan Dham ki jai,
Jai.
Dham Kund Radha Kund ki jai,
Jai.
Tulsi Devi Bhakti Devi Vrinda Devi ki jai,
Jai.
Jai Harinam Sankirtan Yagya ki jai,
Jai.
Scientific Sankirtan Yagya ki jai, Jai
Jai.
Śrīmad Bhāgavatam ki jai,
Jai.
Princeton Bhaktivedanta Institute ki jai,
Jai.
Śrī Caitanya Saraswat Mat ki jai,
Jai.
Nitai Gaur Premanandi Hari 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 Bol
Hari Bol.
Jai, Srimati Uma Devi Dasi ki jai, Jai
Jai.
Tulsi Maharani Devi Dasi ki jai,
Jai.
Jai Bhakti Shivam ki jai,
Jai.
Jai Bhakti Chirag ki jai,
Jai.
Jai Gaur Premanandi Hari Hari
Hari Bol. Krishna Keshava Das ki jai.
धन्यवाद प्रणाम।
Dandavats.
Mother.